The natural world is enormous, a gigantic root system of living, breathing organisms down to the very cell, stretching far and wide over every corner of the earth, limitless in our gaze, but rapidly deteriorating due to our actions. What are some wonders of the natural world that we have access to? The Great Barrier Reef, Mount Everest, the Grand Canyon. How spectacular would it be to stand at the very center and behold those views?
Well, don't fret. I don't have enough money to go see them either, so I'll let you in on another secret. You don't always have to live that dream view through a screen, apart from finishing this video. There is a smaller natural wonder out there, one that is teeny in size, but grand in nature. One many people often disgust or despise, yet they're existing all around us. And this gave me an idea. I have one empty old enclosure. How about I make a mini natural wonder for my new mini natural wonders? Hope that made sense. I'm going to be setting up a rainforest type of enclosure as my new animals manifest there, with a small waterfall, moss-covered logs making up the encumbered, vast and ancient-looking landscape, decorated with elegant ferns and orchids to occupy the canopy. We've got some sticks, some pebbles and dirt, a lot of moss. Decor I've been raising up. Let's get started, eh? First, I start by adding in all the necessities of a good bioactive enclosure. A hydro ball, a rock mix, sits at the bottom of the tank, not too high for this case, sphagnum moss in the middle, then a mixed layer of substrate. I added 2 types of peat moss soils and cocoa peat, great for growing plants and water absorption. I have this very crappy, small waterfall, elegant. I'll glue the sphagnum moss onto the background and oh yeah, I forgot. Wear gloves, everyone. My hands are half glazed donuts right now, but it's okay. It's fine. On with the process. This is so it keeps up the humidity in the tank and helps absorb excess water. Dug through a corner and put in a large clay bowl. This helps keep any extra water after it streams down from the log I'm adding in. One big decaying log lays in the center to look like this setting has been around for ages. Then I build up to the exact place I want that waterfall to be. More moss, more dirt, and leaf litter. The waterfall starts fitting perfectly where I need it. Adding the smaller mossy logs to mimic a large, dense jungle landscape. Now that I've got this far, I'm afraid I'll have to cut you guys off here and lift it inside, adding just this perfect set of vines, then filling the tank with plants and other organisms. We're at the finishing touches now. Just a few more plants to add, and the waterfall to install. Once that was done, I added earthworms, springtails, and cute derpy little isopods, along with some beautiful millipedes. These are an absolute must group of cleaner crews to help keep this tank functioning for the long run. They'll be breaking down bits of uneaten pieces of food or just detritus in general, producing a better substrate, a better soil for your inhabitants, including your plants, especially your plants, and keeping all-time maintenance at a low. Keep in mind, we're using species that are compatible with this habitat and only that. So, with this setup complete, the mini natural wonders have been added, creeping about all over. Any guesses to what they are? Ants! Yes, ants! What if I told you that they're one of the major foundations of a healthy ecosystem? In fact, they've been marching about for over 100 million years. Ants do what our modern-day crippling society attempts to achieve, but ultimately they do it 10 times better, with an even lower level of communication and barely any planning, though they are not thinking any deeper. This is because they've evolved a different way of life. Each species is like a specific program as a self-organizing hive mind. They communicate by utilizing the touching of their antennae, sound, and through chemical signals that they leave. Some species even have precise eyesight and prefer to monitor their life that way. We could definitely learn something by watching how these incredible insects manage to function so efficiently, slowly dominating the earth with such simple yet complex methods. So let's spend some time getting to know these tiny natural wonders, and hopefully more people will find a new respect or even love for them. I opened the bottle they arrived in and let them investigate their new home. This currently unidentified species came from a keeper friend of mine down south. I've run into this species before, deep in the jungle 3 years ago. They're a type of carpenter ant, and they have captivated me since. Never found out what they were, and here I sit wondering the same thing after messaging a ton of experts only to find out they're still undescribed. So of course, once I realized what he offered me was the holy grail, I just had to get them and further my own research. After a bit of exploring, they began to head up the main log and set up camp there. We are about to witness just how amazing the empire of ants really is, because good things come in small packages. What you see the ants doing here is called trophallaxis. Indeed, not a fancy word for kiss, but it means the exchange of regurgitated liquids or fluids. They do this to feed other members of the colony, such as the larvae, other workers, the queen, and the elates. A well-nourished colony benefits every single individual. A fraction of the colony headed up to the front side of the tall log and began excavating. It seems that once the chaos had fully been cleansed, the ants had a clearer focus on what they had to do next. Since they've definitely agreed on a nesting site, it was time to provide them with some food. A tiny piece of apple was dropped in, and a few scouts caught wind of it right away. It won't take long before they head back to tell the others. They do this by leaving a special pheromone trail for the other workers to pick up on. In just a few minutes, a bigger squadron has arrived. A warrior stands guard and he takes turn eating parts of the apple now and then. Now I have about 50 workers and some larvae, a queen along with 2 winged females. That's a lot of mouths to feed. So I add in a blueberry. And of course they ignored it and kept getting at the apple. Let's just check back with them in a bit. What's this? They've completely left the apple and are all over the blueberry. 30 minutes away and they worked their magic, nipping away piece by piece by piece and sharing it to the rest of the colony members. Oh, whoa, hold on. What's going on, Leslie, you fucking squirrel? Yeah, mate. You're ruining great footage, mate. Oh, yeah, mate. It's a sick setup, eh? Could you go sit over there, mate? Oh, why are you nibbling my fingers? Love you too, eh? Yeah, nah, you can't stay here, mate. As I was saying, we are watching them tear at this blueberry, and those mandibles you see aren't actually their mouth parts. Their mouths are mostly hidden under those mandibles. You can see them in action as they pull up the contents of this fruit in a sippy action. These, as I've said before, are carpenter ants, named after what you'll be witnessing shortly: boring tunnels and homes in wood. This genus includes some of the world's largest ant species, and the biggest genus of ants being a monotypic one. They're called Dinomyrmex gigas. I'd love to go out and find and film more of these guys again, and actually observe them for hours. Though they do not have a stinger, the carpenter ants have large jaws for chewing into wood or insects, and it definitely hurts when they bite. Some also have the ability to spray formic acid from the tips of their abdomen as well. Those large modified antennae feel up other ants. Very appropriate for them, but not so much for us. The coat of hairs you see help these large ants detect vibrations around them. Always be aware. Always stay alert, grounded. Some other workers get word and join the party.
Girl, come check out that fruit buffet down there. Oh my gosh, it's like the bomb.
Like, OMG. Seems many other workers who weren't scavenging have crept back into hiding. And it was about 4 a.m. at the time, so I had to do some resting as well. Since these ants are diurnal, I wasn't too worried about missing anything, only for me to wake up in astonishment. The ants have fully drilled a tunnel through the large log, and who knows how many more. This was no easy task due to how dense and heavy the darn thing was when I lifted it. They're definitely a bit freaked out now that there was a huge being with an unidentifiable device and scent shoved at their doorstep. They start opening their mandibles wide and get into threat postures, issuing me a warning to leave.
The biggest warriors act as bouncers that block an entrance to the cool kids club. Only those with the right groove are allowed in. This individual couldn't boogie to the disco, therefore she is cast out. And as the sun rises, so does the colony's appetite. They get ready for a special gift. An offering of the gods. The populace cheer and celebrate the expansion of their undercity. Praise the Lord! Whoopee!
Yeah!
The ants start swarming the cantaloupe, nibbling away little pieces. And look who's in the center of it all. This little isopod is either crapping his pants or knows he is in the safe spot in this habitat. The ants have no quarrel with them. They barely even want meat, since most of the ants' diet consists of fruits and honey. Isopods are basically walking armored tanks, and are just not worth the effort. Most ant colonies are full of sterile females, which grow into warriors or workers like you see here. The queen's only job is to lay more eggs and expand the colony, whereas the lazy-ass males get fed well all their lives, for one main purpose: to reproduce. Wait, what? I said reproduce, not fuck. Oh my god, why'd you censor that? To reproduce. Thank you. Now I'm sure a lot of people wish they could be born a male ant, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Only a select few, of up to 1,000, get to do the mating. The rest die off in some horrible or tragic manner, but I won't dive into it much. Bless those poor souls. Now I'd love more than anything to cover all there is about ants and what all I know about their uniqueness, including some other colonies I keep. But we don't have that kind of timing. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll dive back into this natural world of ants again later. See you in the next video.